Hello, everyone. Welcome to the latest Power Up series from Top Step. I'm Ron Bro, CEO. Today, we're going to talk about implementing subcontractor management in SuiteProjects Pro, formerly OpenAir. SuiteProjects Pro has multiple features to help you manage subcontractors. This includes cost management, reconciling time, tracking skill sets, and limiting access. In this Power Up, we will review the different options on how to manage subcontractors. So first thing we need to consider is how do we want to set up our subcontractor users? Typically, we see clients using subcontractors, allowing them to enter directly into OpenAir and be able to put in their time directly. But we want to make sure that their access is appropriately limited. So we want to take a look at the roles that we have in the system, and we may need to create a special role for contractors to limit what they can do and see in the system. So you'll see in this example, we have Beth Castle, who's a contractor, and we've created a user contractor role. And this generally is the most limiting role that we have in SuiteProjects Pro and using it for the contractors. In addition to the role, though, we also need to take a look at the filter set. Typically, the booked assigned filter set will suffice. This is the typical role we see most customers using. This basically allows limiting to booked projects or assigned projects within the timesheet module. We also want to limit what access control a subcontractor has. So we may want to come into the application access and say only time and expenses are available when a subcontractor logs in. And this will basically ensure that subcontractor can only see the projects and the tasks on their timesheets and expense reports that they have either been assigned or booked to, and no other data in your system. In addition, we see a lot of customers implementing costs reporting in OpenAir for determining project margin. Subcontractor costs are the easiest cost to load because you have an agreed upon hourly rate with your subcontractors generally, and you can go ahead and assign that hourly rate here to your subcontractor. Now, again, if your contractor cost changes year over year, certainly we can track that to get more accurate. But what if your contractor's cost changes for certain types of work? So on a project specific, the subcontractor is going to charge you one rate, but for other work, they're going to charge you a different rate. Well, SuiteProjects Pro accommodates that. If we take a look at the project, there is a feature that allows you to override hourly costs for a specific project. So you can see in this example, for the work Beth is going to do, when Beth enters her time against this project, her time will be costed at 75, but for other work Beth does, it will inherit her standard cost, which is 65. This gives us accurate cost reporting and accurate margin calculations. There's even a version of this that goes down to a task if you needed it to. So if someone was varying their costs on the same project based on the work they're doing within a project, you could actually also enable this loaded cost override to the task level and give you the same results. So our contractors entering their hours, they're doing their work, we're reporting on their hours and the costs they're putting against the project. And ultimately, at the end of a period, they send us an invoice of all the hours they worked. Well, how do you go in and take a look easily in OpenAir to determine if the hours they're invoicing you meet the hours they're entering in the system? So the way that you can accomplish this is in the time entries section of OpenAir, time entries here. You can, if there is a feature that allows you to add a bulk action, run an action option to time entries. Now, if you don't see this, it's because there's a couple custom fields that have to be created for this to show. There's no backend switch needed. There's just a couple of fields. So let's take a look at our custom fields. And let's filter on our time entries. So if we take a look at these two fields, this one OA time entry reconciled notes and OA time, if you create those two fields exactly as they are here, That will then enable the bulk actions and the run an action options on the time entry screen. If I go back to that screen, what it allows me to do is basically go in and let's go ahead and enable our column totals. Let's go, I can come in here basically and say, okay, Beth sent me an invoice. I can see what days this month she worked. Does this match her invoice? It does. I'm going to go ahead and mark these as paid on her invoice number 123. So now I have a reference to the time entries I've paid and the invoice that Beth sent me with regards to what invoice I paid. If Beth were to accidentally re-invoice me for these same time entries, I would be able to see quickly that I've already paid these and what invoice I paid them on. So this is a really nice way to be able to keep track of your contractors. It also works for W-2 employees. If you are paying W-2s, you come in here and grab your hours for W-2, mark those as paid, so you know any new hours processed in a given period of time. Going back to Beth, in addition to her costs, we want to be able to tag Beth as a contractor. And there's a few options. You could create a custom field, um, which would work. The challenge with that is we have some customers where employees become contractors and contractors become employees. And if that's the case, you want to be able to track at the point in time they were an employee or the point of time they were a contractor. So doing this so you can use entity. And here you can come in here and mark the contractor as a classification of contractor and mark employees as employees. And this gives you another filter for reports as well as searches in the resource module, which I'll show you in a moment. You can also be able to track what dates they were an employee versus a contractor. So again, for more accurate reporting. But by using this entity tag, now if I'm going in and I'm searching, because they're a standard user just like anyone else, you can assign skill sets to the resource and you can then search. Even if they're not working for you today and they're inactive, you can search for both active and inactive resources, and as well as being able to search by their classification of contract. And so now I can also then go in and add my skills and experience and any other time period. I can search by cost if I'm looking for a particular cost. Any of these search parameters you can do and then be able to pull together a resource based on the parameters you can. And you'll see Beth Castle was pulled because she met the criteria of my entity tag. So these are a few tips and tricks in managing subcontractors that we've learned working with our clients. Hope you are able to use some of these tips and tricks. Thank you for joining this Power Up series. Again, I'm Ron Bros, CEO. We appreciate you participating today. If there's anything more we can do for you, please reach out. We are available on LinkedIn, on our website. Thanks again.